Okay, I think I'm ready. Ready to talk about the journey, you know? Um, First of all, I want to start this off by talking about or reintroducing myself. My name is Emperá Epheru, and I am a practitioner and a study, or I should say, I'm studying occult metaphysics and um, spirituality, basically. Talking about my spiritual journey, talking about it from my experience, and doing my best not to regurgitate information because for years I've been learning from the the masters who's been doing this before us. People like brothers like Bobby Hemmett, Brother Panic, rest in power. I still listen to Brother Panic almost every day. I hear him talking in my head sometimes. um, because he's the one. Both of them were always the ones that I resonated with the most. What they were talking about, their energy, and how they delivered was just, it appealed to me more than others. Now there are some like uh Red Pillar, Blue Pillar. I give them their props too because I have watched them, listened to them for the longest. There's so many. It's a handful of people that I could name drop, all to get me to this point. And one of my main teachers who stepped in and actually took me under their wing was Allie West. Allie, you may know her, you may not, but Allie is the one who um, set me. Well, other than her, it was people like my auntie at Leslie. I had people who taught me and showed me that I had a true path in this, and that they just showed me who my true self was and who I and the potential that I had to be. Now that I've worked on myself long enough, and I've worked on myself a lot, constant shadow work, constant reprogramming, constant you know personal growth, something that I've always worked on, something that I take pride and value in, because I've always just wanted to be a better version. Now, a better version of myself. Now, sometimes that can stem from past trauma, past experiences where I might have felt like I wasn't good enough. And I guess that's kind of like a common trait within a Sagittarius, because that's what I am. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm all signs. I don't just subscribe to one sign just because it's my sun sign. I understand astrology enough to know that all signs are well within us, but sun sign, Sagittarius, that self worth kind of you would think, because we have a lot of fire and we can present ourselves as one of the most confident, one of the most passionate people, but we also, me personally, can sometimes struggle in self worth, self value, being good enough. And those are just one of many traumas that a human or a god going through a human experience has to deal with. So um if I haven't said it already, I'm Emperor Epheru. That is my divine name. That is who I go by. That is who I am. That is me. That is my higher self. That is my true self. And I'm happy to be here. So, and the second thing I wanted to get to is like what I do, and I took some notes just to make sure that I don't forget nothing. So, let me see. I am a musician slash artist and producer. I use my spiritual prowess to heal and activate with my music. So there you have it. I am a activator. I And this is one of the things that Ali helped me realize or learn about myself, that my spiritual prowess was always I was always activated. I was always very mystical, but, or however, I didn't always recognize it. I didn't even know. I always thought it was just something regular that I just kind of pushed to the side because I didn't think it was important. Nobody understands it, so why would I keep bringing it up? I was always this kid who always had outside the box ideas and outside the box perspectives. And when people, a lot of the times people didn't understand that, didn't see where I was coming from, didn't know I was ahead of my time, or maybe they didn't, just didn't want, you know what I'm saying? So, um, where was I going with that? Where was I going with that? The point I was trying to make. I don't want to forget. I've always had these spiritual abilities, was born with them. And I think that's a common thing with twins. I am a twin, and my brother is always with me. He sometimes speaks through me because I can channel other spirits through me too. Other people want to speak. I have ancestors that want to speak through me. So someone had felt like they needed to say something just a second ago, and I didn't know that there was power, or there was ashe in the light language. I thought it was just pure gibberish, and it's a language that I came up with. I was creating at a young age. My mother gave me my whole name. I used to practice on the closet rewriting my name, simply because I just wanted to see it differently, recreating everything. And that's kind of what we do. That's kind of what I do. Being a natural born creator, a natural born conjurer. I was talking to Martians when I was a child. Found all of these out through Allie, because one of the things, first of all, that is the tribe leader. That is the big mama. That is who I give all of my props to and all of my gratitude to when it came to um her, and amongst others who um showed me the power that I have, and showed me how to use it, showed me how powerful I actually am. Like, no, I'm not just some mediocre nigga that can just do some tarot card here, a little, and you know, speaking a language and not actually doing anything. Because the way that you access these abilities, first of all, with light language, is you have to be a certain frequency in the heart. You have to be at a certain frequency within the heart chakra. Your heart chakra has to be open to a certain point, and that is how you are able to access the language of the soul, because that's what the light language is. If you hear other people to speak their light language is very unique to themselves, to their soul, as it should be. And hmm, this just came to mind. I always had this ability to like mimic other people's uh other people's light language. And I think I've always been able to do things like that. I've always been able to absorb and then kind of make it into my own, and then dish it right back out. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be music, it can be fashion, it can be anything. I can always take something, tweak it, and make it my own. And that's one of the things that I would do with, for an example, light language, like I was just talking about. I can take an a aspect of a light language that I heard from someone else and use it and turn it. It might not even have no power in it, but then again, it might. It just might. I have a lot of ashe. I have a lot of fire. You know, not everybody that speaks the light language or speaks the language can activate or even have power. Some people can just speak the language, and with something on my phone to keep, it's distracting the hell out of me. Maybe um not everybody that can speak the light language can activate people. Not everybody that can speak the light language can heal. Not everybody that speaks the light language can understand it, because there's those that can interpret the language. For those of you that don't know, light language is a variation of speaking in tongues. In religion, in the church, speaking in tongues. In spirituality, it's light language. Somewhere else is probably something else. I'm going to call it language of the soul. So yes, I'm not quite sure what it takes in order to be able to access higher spiritual, um I might be, I don't want to say this wrong, I want to say this right. It's a way that you could probably upgrade your abilities to make them stronger, or it could just be where it just comes over time. The more knowledge you gain, say I got light books that I'm not going to try to look for right now, but for an example, those kinds of things, knowledge builds light. Knowledge builds your light, but at the same time, it's not the only thing. It's not what's going to get you to your breakthroughs. It's not what's going to, unless you're already halfway there on your own before you open the book. Knowledge is basically, it builds light, but basically it only builds your understanding of it. And even then, when you're reading something, you might not fully understand it because you just really just repeating the information. Knowledge applied is how you grow. Knowledge applied is how you grow. It's something that Brother Panic used to say all the time, which is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You get the knowledge, but then that builds your intellect. Intellect alone won't do it. You just building up your masculine side of the brain. You have to tap in with your divine feminine side of the brain and apply this knowledge to the point where it's second nature or it's experience, and it's not just something that you read or something that you heard or listened to. So I've came a long way from not knowing what a solar return is because there was a point in time where I was listening to all of these people. I would listen to all of these teachers, and I would I was gaining knowledge, I was gaining, but I wasn't gaining no experience, you know what I'm saying? And um one of the things that they always said to do when you are listening to these two teachers that I like to speak of, which is Bobby Hemmett and Brother Panic, is that they always tell you to go do the research yourself. Do not take my word for it. Even Rod Hayes says that. I listen to him too. He's like the news reporter when it comes to shit going on in the land. Do not take, even me, don't just take my word for it. Get the book. They suggested books. I went and got their books, and that's when I started reading on my own, despite me listening to them. Now when I'm listening to them and I have an understanding from their perspective, and then I open up the book and I read it, and it's giving me the whole breakdown that they got it from. Now I really understand where they're coming from. So um to get back to the original topic, me studying occult metaphysics, the occult is really just the more spiritual, hidden side of metaphysical studies. So, Gnosticism, primordial deities, self deification, um, magic, tapping into the magic, learning how to reprogram your mind, dark psychology, all of these things I took fancy to because these were the things that were going to teach me how to reprogram myself, and at the same time stop myself from being manipulated from other things that was going on. Be very transparent with you when I say that I have a very big heart, and growing up having a very big heart, you don't always understand that people don't always have your best interest at play. I don't blame nobody for the misfortune that I might have endured while growing up. It was all a learning experience. Another thing that Panic used to repeat all the time in almost every video, the way that this reprogramming works and shadow work, the necessity of shadow work is to understand that the way your subconscious mind works, or receives information, is by trauma, repetition, and symbols. You know what I'm saying? And growing up, going through uh having these human experiences that are less I ain't saying but I'm whatever, fuck it. That are less fortunate, that is trauma. And then if it keeps happening, that's repetition. So your sub is programming the subconscious mind. It's like when you're first born into this world, you come into this world as a divine being, because the number one thing about a person is their innocence. Not that an innocent person that's never done no wrong is the most spiritual, is the most spiritually adept. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they don't know nothing but from what they came from. So an infant can come into this world knowing exactly who they are, because the afterlife is, of course, nothing more than the astral realm, the spiritual realm, the dream world. It's all of that shit is real. So when you go to sleep and you have dreams, you got to take note and really pay attention to what they're trying to say. But remember, the subconscious mind speaks in symbols. It only understands the language of symbols. So you have to learn to symbolically look at those kinds of things. And when you learn to symbolically look at your dreams or interpret your dreams, that's when you start to learn how to look at everything else. Like, first of all, what I learned to do is that I learned to look at everything symbolically. And there's some, even before I even knew that this was a necessity when it comes to occult spirituality and knowledge and just growing your spiritual prowess. I have a brother named Yahshua. Yes, Yahshua. He um he will do this thing where he don't text, he don't write out what he's trying to say to you. Is more so like he send like a video, and that'll explain symbolically what he's trying to say to you. I thought it was very clever. It's a great way to level up your, say, if you do tarot readings, tarot cards, oracle cards. When you learn how to look at these things, look at the symbology of them. Look at the symbology of a knight of a, a ace of wands. That's a new adventure, something, a new spark in life that's going to happen. It's something new, but it's also something that's adventurous. It's something that's going to bring passion, and it's going to ignite you. You know, for I'm sure I have a better explanation of that, but there are plenty. But just for now, that's what I'm going to work with. So occult knowledge is all about working with the hidden. So that's when I learned about how I can actually tap in, because I said that I can tap into other energies. I didn't understand until I was working with Ali that I'm actually channeling these people. I never knew that all this time when I be writing my songs, I'd be thinking about, I'll write them, but then I'll notice that after I made it, I'm like, I sound like somebody else. There was times when I'd be like, man, I sound like Kendrick. He ain't even dead. But it's just energy. That energy, you can tap into that energy. There's so many times I tapped into Prince. So many times I tapped into Michael. I use Michael a lot when it comes to just learning how to use my vocals and singing, because I want to sing, but I wasn't always a singer. So I like to use him as a good example. And I would ask him for help. Like, yo, Mike, can you help me? And then I'd call him. He shows up and he helps me. If you'll see in the music that I make. I've got music out right now, but we're going to get to that in a second. I always had the natural ability to conjure spirits and just speak to them when I was a child. Imaginary friends by the dozen. Imaginary friends by the dozen, which I learned through Ali that those were Martians, right? Those are Martians that I was talking to. So I wasn't just talking to nobody. And that's the thing. You got to really pay attention to your children. Pay attention to who they looking at, what they doing, or what they saying. Even if you can't understand it. That's light language. I Google, that's light language. Talk to your child. If you know how to speak in light language, talk to your child in light language. They're going to talk back. Talk to the dog in light language. She barking at me. Because she understands these animals are just as divine as the children are. And I've recently learned that dogs, the way that their mind is, they only grow to the human IQ of a 2-year-old. That's just something I heard. It's not facts. It's just something I heard. But that's why they act the way that they act. Sometimes, like, my dog is very needy. She's a big baby, but she's a sweetheart. Over there snoring right now. But however, or anyway, what was I talking about? What the fuck was I talking about? All right, we'll just keep it going. Keep it going. Occult. That's what I'm all about. I'm all about dealing with spirits, dealing with the unseen, and channeling spirits. I can channel artists. That's what I was talking about. Channeling artists. I've channeled DMX. I've channeled Tupac. I've channeled Prince. Like I said, I've channeled Michael. And it doesn't always have to be with the vocals. Sometimes it can just be like they might want me to make an instrumental a certain way, because that's what I am. I'm this is what's it's good. And over to the next thing that I wanted to talk about, and I wrote down saying I am a musician, artist, and producer. Oh wait, I might have already said that. Right. I think I've already said that. So the way that I incorporate my spirituality and my music is I of course speak the light language, set the intention, and really I don't have to do much. First of all, my ancestors are always with me. They're always surrounding me. And if I had to guess, most of them, more than half of them are musicians, and they are with me too. They show up and help. So the more I would listen to them, like I would listen to Prince and Michael, like these two artists. First, Michael, I listened to Michael for about 6 months straight. I was in a trance. It was crazy. Like I could not stop listening to Michael Jackson. That's how I knew he was really with me, because I was so tapped in. I wanted to dance like him. I watched this interview. And that's how you do it. That's how you call their energy. You listen to the music. You watch their interviews. You read about them, whatever you feel like you gotta do. Just like when you set up an altar and you want to call it, and you want to call a spirit to you, you get the things that they identified with. Prince, he got the love symbol. He like peppermint tea, he, purple. So get an amethyst crystal. Do things like that. So with Michael, I didn't do none of that. What I did was I just listened to the music, and I tapped into the frequency. I have this ability, like I have this thing, and this is why I started my channel, because I never heard anybody talking about shit like this. Brother Panic a little bit, but not to this detail. No one talks about the art of embodiment. I have the ability to embody energy. It doesn't matter what it is. And I'm a very big anime watcher. I watch a lot of anime shows, and I even when growing up, this is a fine example. When you're a child, and they talk about this in some of my occult books that I got. It's a Kabbalah book that I got where it talks about this. It's a form of self-deification. It's like, think about when you were a child, and we're going to use Dragon Ball Z as an example, because everybody who don't love Dragon Ball Z, you want it to be Goku. Don't lie. You want it to be Goku. You want it to be Goku. Or no, you just want it to turn into a Super Saiyan. because that shit was so cool. You wanted to demonstrate the Kamehameha wave. That is a form of embodying. When you're a child, you want to act like them, you want to talk like them, you want to be as strong or as powerful as them. There was times when I was little, I loved Dragon Ball Z so much, I actually planned to go to school, go in the bathroom, and power up, see if I could turn Super Saiyan 3. I don't know why I ain't just do it right there while I'm at home. And I felt like at school, that's the best way to do that shit. Cause I was shy too. So I know I'd embarrass myself if I'm in the bathroom yelling as loud as I can. Cause I'm trying to transform. That's the example. That's how much you gotta get into it. Now that we're grown, we know we can't do that. But at the same time, we can. It's energy. It's an energetic thing. It's not a physical transformation. It's an energetic transformation or adaptation, if you will. Um, so what happened was during my spiritual journey, I started watching a lot of anime. And when I started watching a lot of anime, I I was really into the shows. Like I was really into and by that time I was able to see the spirituality and the metaphysics and all of the shows and everything, basically in anything. So it was just made it more easy for me to tap into the characters. Like for an example, Black Clover. I started watching that show, and Asta, he was all about, he couldn't do magic. So he would just work out his physical ability. So at least that was on point. And then he ended up getting something called anti-magic. So using his ideology, I tapped into that energy of a character named Asta who had to work out a lot. So it got to a point where I was just working out a lot, working out. Never giving up is my magic. That's what it used to say. So that's how you know. If you think I'm just repeating shit or I just seen something on the internet, no, I actually watched the whole shit and waiting for the next seasons. I watch these shows because it keeps me in my childhood, my child nature. We grow up too fast, and the only things we seem to be interested in are shows like Power. And shows don't really intrigue me no more. They might if I sit down and actually watch it. I mean, I started watching Snowfall. I know I'm late. I'm enjoying the fuck out of that show. You know, it's just all about what appeals to you. I'm a very big advocate of the saying, "Do as thou wilt." Just don't hurt nobody. You know. So you take that idea of embodiment, and then that is how I was able to tap into other artists. If I can listen to them, when I listen to an artist and I like what they have to offer, or I just like their archetype. Then what would happen is I will listen to their whole playlist. I want to listen to what they made when they first started, all the way through to the end. And what that does is that gives me an idea. And what you got to understand is true artists. If you're a true artist, you will share your story. You will talk about your life and experiences, and people are able to see the growth in an artist through their music, in the music. So I was able to see everybody's growth. I was able to see Kendrick Lamar's growth. I was able to watch J. Cole's growth simply because I'm actually in those. They're actually my era. That's my era. That's my generation. Um, Drake. All of these examples, despite what happened recently, we're not going to get into that. Um, Other than the fact that I was rooting for Kendrick, of course. But anyway, um, I would take all of that information and soak it all in subconsciously. And what would happen is it would come out in my music, or I would sound like them, not intentionally, unintentionally. There's so many songs and verses I had to scratch out and redo simply because I felt like I sounded too much like other people. I ain't want to sound like other people. But I bullshit you not. There was times when I was writing. This was before I even met Ali, or before I even knew I had spiritual abilities. I would write a song and I would sound just like Tupac. I don't know, and I didn't know where it came from. And then later on, I learned that I can actually channel artists and use their energy. So I can come off like a Tupac Shakur. I can come off like a Michael Jackson. I can't come off like a Kendrick Lamar. It's because I listen to these artists so much that I've adopted their energy in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Kind of hard to explain. I channel them. Sometimes they speak through me. Sometimes they want to speak through me. Sometimes they want to help with creative ideas and no, don't do it this way, do it that way type of thing. So I'm very grateful for that. I share to them. And basically what I want to do is, I'm building a band, I'm building a team. I want to build a community of people. First of all, what this channel is about, you know, working with like-minded people. Who else could fancy themselves as a magician, a high priest, high priestess? Um, who else feels like they have magical abilities when it comes to playing the piano, playing the guitar, producing music? Because people don't know that once you build your spiritual prowess up, you can mm, excuse me, stomach started hurting. I don't know what's going on. But no. What I learned is that what the hell? I just lost it. My stomach started hurting and I just lost it. What was I talking about? I was talking about embodiment. And then said I was grateful. Come on now. Come on now. That's how I don't know. That's when tapping in. I learned that too. They want to speak. Okay, I was talking about them wanting to speak through me. Like my brother, he will speak through me. I deal with the Orishas, unbeknownst to me, before now. So Shango will come through and he will speak through me. Oya has spoken through me once before. My twin brother Regan has spoken through me. Um, since I can't remember what I was talking about, I can say that this is how I was able to recognize that in other artists like Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar is a channeler. He can channel. By the time he came out with the Heart Part 5, and he was doing all that moving, I could tell that was a spiritual um that was a spiritual jug, if you will. That was a spiritual jug when you just kind of like anybody, they just rocking, or they kind of got that twist, that stunt, like when people crunk, they move a certain, it's spontaneous movements. I've seen Bob Marley do it because he's dancing in the spirit. You don't know what the hell he's doing. He just all over the place with it, and he's moving in spirit. No one taught him how to do that. And that's when the embodiment takes place. That's how I understood what was going on with Kendrick. I could tell what he was doing. So when he was speaking from multiple different perspectives and you could see his face kind of morph into them, I understood it right away. I said, wow. Especially when he did Nipsey Hussle. I said, yeah, he channeling like a motherfucker. And then when on he did the song on his last album, I can't remember what it's called, Reincarnated. He sounded like Tupac, but he was channeling other people right along with Tupac. I think that might be one of my favorite songs out there off that album. just simply because I could resonate with it. This I made a song named called I made a song called it's not Dawn of a Black God, even though on the second verse of that song, Dawn of a Black God, I channeled DMX. But you might not get his energy in that song because I had to re-record it. And when I re-recorded it, I wasn't necessarily I can't remember if I called DMX to help me with that or not. Sometimes they do it on their own. Sometimes they help out on their own. Sometimes I call them. So, which was the song? No, I think it was. Anyway, there was one song that's off the album Astonishing Times Volume 1. Available everywhere. You can even look it up on YouTube, but you would have to retype my name because it's not on the same page, YouTube page. One of the songs, I wish I knew the name of it. I can't move my stuff. I look on the computer. I channeled Tupac on the first verse, and because of the way that I came in, and that was intentional because I wanted to learn how to. Growing up and rapping, I was never as good as a freestyler as others, but my pen game was vicious. Just didn't practice enough. I had issues with practice. Wanted to be a basketball player, didn't want to practice. Went to basketball tryouts. We can guess how that turned out. Okay, so um, somebody told me when I got a reading from them. Her name is actually I'm gonna shout her out. She's actually it's tunnel vision. Tunnel vision. She she gave me a reading one time. It was a short reading, and she told me, like, first of all, what happened is a whole bunch of superstars came up. Like, she started seeing superstars because she's a channeler too, which was dope. And that's kind of what happens every time someone gives me a reading. Stars show up, like Biggie, Tupac, Michael, Prince, them Bob. They'll just show up, DMX. And that just means this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be making music and turning this into a whole spiritual thing instead of just an energy harvesting thing, because that's all they really doing with this music in the music industry. They're just harvesting our energy, you know, all of this bullshit music that's out there. But that's not the point I was trying to make. Damn it. I'll be sidetracked so easily. And I think that spirit, they be wanting to be talking about other stuff. And I'm learning how to flow. I'm learning how to flow with it. But that song that I was talking about, I didn't realize that I actually channeled people until I sent it to Allie and Allie, because that's what we used to do. We used to listen to music or trade music and give feedback. And that one song that I sent it to her, she was like, "Nigga, you channeled Tupac." Nigga, I said, "Wow, really?" Knowing I intentionally did it, I didn't know that it was happening. Sometimes it's like, and this is like further explaining why I didn't know that I was so mystical or I had these abilities before when I would make music, because they were just second nature to me. It's like it's second nature to speak light language. It's second nature to be able to dream in color. It's second nature to be able to do things with my third eye. I didn't have to open my third eye. My third eye was already open. I can't people used to, when this information was not so broad, it was not so out there, or it was just the conscious community, and when the conscious community was still like somewhat underground, you know what I'm saying, where conscious rappers thrived more underground. In that time, people would hit you with the spookism when it came to your third eye. Don't open your third eye because this or that might happen. Don't do this because that'll happen. All that did was just intrigue me. I want to see. I want to know. I want to tap in. And I um I learned that the third eye is nothing more than just tapping into your imagination, being able to see, feel, taste, and touch and hear with your imagination. So much so to the point where you can pull it down from as above, so below. You can pull it down from the ethers into the physical. That is the art of manifesting. It's as simple as that. But sticking to the third eye is really just having the ability to visualize. Can you have the vision? Do you have the vision? You can't manifest nothing if you can't see it first. And that is what was difficult about understanding manifestation for a period of time. And but it's so many reasons why it works like that. Going off of the third eye and more so into manifestation. I guess spirit wants to talk about manifestation. So like uh um somebody was walking around that distracted me. What was I trying to say? What was I ooh, channeling. Yeah, channeling. People get distracted, you lose your train of thought. No, was talking about manifestation and how one of the laws that plays such a pivotal role in the art of manifestation is the law. Was it rhythm, cause and effect, or I can't remember. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to get back into that and just to get back into my notes to study it a little bit more, just to have it more imprinted in my head. But I was breaking it down one time. I said the reason why things take so long to manifest in the physical world is because in the spiritual, if you pay attention to your dreams, things happen in a matter of seconds. Speed of light, right? What is light? Spirit. So when it comes down to the physical things, it's a much more dense reality. So things move way more slower than it would in the astros, in the spiritual realm. So that is why, for an example, I'm on a twin flame journey right now, and or a divine partner, however you want to describe that. In order to be able to, you know what, I'm gonna save that for another time. I'm gonna use another example because that's too I feel like that's personal right now. So what I'm gonna talk about is, well, how I'm you what example I'm gonna use is just having dreams. You go into a dream, right? You see how everything quickly shifts. You're in one place and out of nowhere you're in another place. You decide in your dream that you want to go somewhere, and just like that, you're already there. That's how it works. Um, just like with your imagination, things shift in a matter of seconds, and things kind of just spiral out of control. Aside from the fact that you your subconscious mind is just replaying the last 24 hours of your life and what it was symbolizing. So all of that shit be happening in a matter of seconds. Like it's just like that. This is why they say as above, so below, and you have to be able to see it first before you can just have it in the physical, before it appears in the physical. Of course, now we've compared to 5 years ago, it is much less dense than it was before. So things may come faster, especially when your spiritual prowess, your vibration is high enough, things start to work more in your favor. I'm kind of on the fence of that, but I'm gonna get to that later. I'm gonna stick to this. So things are moving way slower in the physical realm. Still coming, but it's like coming slow, as opposed to in the astral realm. It's like it's coming. It's just coming slow. So the point is to have faith in what you asked for and what you've seen coming to you. You have to see it coming to you. You have to tap into the feeling of it. It's not just seeing it, it's also feeling it as well. You have to, and that's another thing too. Um Tantra, if you can't get into if you don't know your body well, if you don't know your the way your nerves work, their inner system, the way things work. Like, for an example, I can shoot up my Shakti energy, my Kundalini energy, or I can play with it anytime. I've always been able to do shit like that, but I didn't understand what it was. I just knew my body, my nervous system. I understood it to a certain level, to a certain degree. So, Tantra, when you get into Tantra, that teaches you how to understand your body on a whole nother level. I'm gonna save that for another video. So once you do that, you what was I getting at? What was I getting at? One of the ways, another way that you can do this aside from Tantra, by getting to know your strengthening your senses, especially your inner senses, trying to understand, or just to really just to tap in. Excuse me. What you want to do is you practice your five senses, and with your using your third eye. This is also how you strengthen your third eye too, is by exercising your senses. So what are the five senses? Taste, touch, smell, sight, and hearing. Set inside into a meditation and practice these things. Do a meditation where you're just going about your day. How do you start your day? This is an everyday thing, so you should be easy for you to be able to visualize if your third eye is open. If it's not, then just practice that. Visualize practicing your day, going about your day. It's going to be difficult. Like, it's very hard to open a door. I won't lie to you. It's hard to open a door at first. You can just walk through it. It's your imagination. Do as thou wilt. But the whole point of this exercise is to exercise your senses, exercise your sight, exercise your taste. So when you get up in the morning, what does it feel like? Are you yawning? Do you know what it feels like to yawn? You know what I'm saying? When you what do you see? What do you hear when you go in the bathroom, turn the water on? Can you hear the faucet running? Can you, when you brush your teeth, can you taste the toothpaste? Taste, touch, hear, and sight. You are exercising all of those five senses, which in turn strengthens your pineal gland. It strengthens your imagination and the ability to tap into the imagination where you can manifest and pull from the ethers. And then, of course, what you do is after you've done that meditation ritual, you leave it alone and don't think about it, and always maintain positive thoughts. Of course, before you do any type of ritual, what you need to do is you need to clear your mind, so these things can tap into the subconscious mind. Now, I could break that down later, or I can suggest the book to you, The Magician. That's one book. And I mean, See, I'm sitting in a lawn chair. Man, quite comfortable. Magical Kabbalah by Alan Richards. This book taught me about doing rituals with the Kabbalah. It taught me about self-deification before I heard Brother Panic talk about it, and then I understood right away how he did it. I've been doing it all my life. Embodiment, that is self-deification. That is how you self-deify. You want to tap into Anubis, figure out who Anubis is, learn who Anubis is, and then see it as yourself. That's how he dropped that. That's Panic. That's his shit. That was his shit. But then again, it's it's something that I've always done. But he broke it down so well. Look him up, Brother Panic. Somebody reposted his channel because I think YouTube took it down. It's too much good shit he was posting. Too much good shit he was talking about that they don't want us to learn or tap into. His channel was Occult Lectures, the new channel with not as much as his videos, but a lot of his videos is Pandemon. You want to get with that. The other book that I had just mentioned, The Magician, it was out of print. They put it back in print. So I was gonna tap into the third thing, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make this a part 1, and I'm gonna do a part 2 because I got things to do. You see, I'm dressed up. You want to tap in with my social medias. I have Instagram. I did have TikTok, but we all know how that worked out. My silly self uninstalled it because I was going through a period of social media detox. I had to detox. My energy was everywhere. I was doing all kinds of things, saying everybody watching and lurking, and it was just too much. I had to step away for a while. So that's why I'm transitioning my stuff on to YouTube, and I started coming up with better ideas and ways to come up with courses. You can tap in with me on IG. My IG is Emperá Epheru. If you want to check out my music, you can check it out it's on all platforms. It's on SoundCloud. It's on Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, YouTube. The only dilemma with iTunes is that I go by 2 different names. When I wanted to change my name, they didn't want to put all of my music together. So Emperá Epheru on iTunes, it only has Astonishing Times the album. Astonishing Times the album for iTunes is only on Emperá Epheru's page. But all of the other music that I have made previous before that is on another name called Ray Astonishing. No G. You can find all of my other music that I made before that one, before I became my divine self, truly. You can find it on there, Ray Astonishing. But other than that, Emperá Epheru, you type my name. I'm the only one that has that name. That is my name. I should get it trademarked. That is my name. But other than that, I'm going to tap in with y'all later. Peace.